Career success requires more than getting work done. It requires building positive and effective working relationships, and sometimes resolving the issues that break down those relationships. So in this video today, you will observe how Sophie holds a team member, Olivia, accountable for meeting with a fellow coworker in order to address and work through an issue of concern that they've experienced. So in an earlier video, number 4, when Sophie checked in with Olivia on a project deadline, Olivia's response was blame. It sounded like this. I won't be able to get the budget in tomorrow, Sophie, because Alex, the jerk in accounting, never gives me the data on time. Now, hearing Olivia's response and knowing that she will need to work with Alex again in the future, Sophie recognized that Olivia needed to address and work through her issue of concern over deadlines with Alex. So here is how Sophie holds an accountability conversation with Olivia. She opens up by communicating positive wants, what she wants for Olivia and Olivia's success, then the action, what she expects Olivia to do, and then the impact of that action, why it's important, what's the intention of it. Watch too. She'll also model an acknowledgement and a contrast whenever it appears that the conversation is breaking down and Olivia is trying to head back to blame. Positive wants. Olivia, I want you to be successful in your job. Now, being successful here includes the work you achieve in addition to building positive working relationships with coworkers. Now, I recognize that you faced a challenge earlier obtaining data from Alex. I believe you need to discuss this issue with Alex in order to create a plan for collaboratively working together. Why? This is needed in order for you to be able to meet future deadlines and to foster a positive workplace culture. And again, she's moving back to blame. Olivia says, Sophie, I'm not Alex's mother or his boss. I can't control him or make him meet deadlines. Watch. Sophie acknowledges, you're right. You cannot control Alex, and you are not his parent or his boss. But watch how she responds to the blame with a contrast. I don't want or expect you to control him. I do expect you to have a conversation where each of you identifies what each of you needs from each other in order to meet deadlines and to respectfully work together. Watch now how she offers some support in having this conversation. Since addressing concerns like this can be complicated, I want to help you prepare for this conversation. Now, instead of seeing Alex as a problem to be fixed, let's see him as a human being who may be overwhelmed with work demands. Let's imagine what challenges he might be facing and what unmet needs he may have. So, in order to get Olivia to think about that, she is going to ask her some questions to begin to explore what Alex's situation might be. Then watch how she moves to getting an agreement and holding Olivia accountable for having this conversation with Alex. Here are some of her questions. What might be behind Alex's lack of responsiveness? Trying to step into somebody's shoes. Is it possible that Alex needs something from you that he is not getting? See how Olivia might be able to ask him that as a question not as an attack, but getting information from him to understand more. And how can you explore whether there are legitimate concerns here, something she might need to do? Is there a blockage somewhere? Or whether this is a matter of responsibility being skirted. If you were Alex, how would you want to be approached by him and discuss deadline concerns? So, setting Olivia up to think and prepare for this conversation. Now, of course, she will also prep Olivia to open up with the three things she's just modeled: positive wants, what was the action or concern, missing the deadline, and what were the consequences on her. Then asking Alex if there has been any difficulties on his part in meeting this, something she doesn't know. Now, in addition, she wants to get an agreement from Olivia to step up to this conversation. She does that with a question. Olivia, may I get a commitment from you to meet with Alex in order to discuss this issue, along with how you could successfully work together in the future? She, of course, gets a yes, and then still makes it real clear that there's going to be some accountability around this. I look forward to hearing about your progress in working with Alex, I mean, the conversation you've had. Plan to update me during our weekly progress update on Friday at 3 p.m. See how she is going to model following up. So Shonda knows that when, or excuse me, Sophie knows that when blame meets avoidance, conflict escalates and it can become like a pop can shaken. She wants to prevent that from happening in the future by getting to the root of this problem. So, in closing, we are accountable not only for what we do, but also for what we do not do. So, as this series comes to an end, join me in the next series, Reframing Blame by Exploring Legitimate Concerns, where you will see that when legitimate concerns exist, there will be a multi-step process that needs to happen to really get to the root of problems and to be able to find ways to get solutions in order to move forward.